December 15th, 2014 meeting of the Cumberland County Commissioners will now come to order, please. I'm Marshall Faircloth, Vice Chairman, and I'll be taking place of Ken Edge, Chairman, who could not be with us tonight. We'll remember Ken in our prayers tonight. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Commissioner Jeanette Council for our invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Thank you. Would you stand with me, please? As we have a moment of prayer, and then we'll be followed by the pledge, which will be given by Mitchell Johnson, who's a first grader at Ed Baldwin Elementary School in Hope Mills. His parents are with him today, Chrissy and Mitchell Johnson. Mitch loves to read. He's a very good student. He loves football. He was a quarterback for Kiwanis Bulldog football team. Best quarterback there is, okay? Best quarterback there is. Okay. Join me with prayer. Heavenly Father, we come together tonight to do the business of the county, to conduct the business in a manner that is beneficial to the citizens of Cumberland County. As we meet and as we go through this season of happiness and joy and thanksgiving and look toward the promise of a new year, we ask that you keep our minds and hearts clear. We ask that you keep those among us who are sick and afflicted healthy tonight. And we ask that you be with those who keep us forever safe so that we don't have to worry about our being and that of our loved ones. Thank you for all that you do. We appreciate you, and we hope that you forever keep us in the palms of your hands. Amen. Amen. Mitchell?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is just for you. Put it in your other hand.
Mitchell, thank you so much. That was wonderful. And we'll play a little Christmas music in your honor here. Let's see. Okay. I don't know how to turn it on. It doesn't have an off button. Okay, at this time we come to a special time each month at the second Monday night. We always have the public comment period, and we invite our public to come in and comment about whatever's on their mind. It's unrestricted. We do ask that you remain respectful, however. But our 15-minute period will be divided by however many speakers we have. So, Madam Clerk, how many do we have?
We have 7 speakers.
7 speakers, okay. I noticed that you've got 2:10 up there, so each speaker will have 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Normally we'll give 3, but if they're over 5, then we have to prorate it, so please bear with us. Madam Clerk, please give me the name and the address of the first speaker, please.
The first speaker is Grady Dobson, address 4577 Cedar Creek Road in Fayetteville.
Okay. Grady, please step forward.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and Happy New Year and Merry Christmas to all of you.
Good evening.
I get kind of misquoted in the paper a lot. My name's Grady Dobson. I'm a retired environmental engineer from the Department of Natural Resources, Diener. And my job responsibility was and I was the only engineer in the Fayetteville office for a long time, and my job responsibility was to do the permitting process for industrial waste facilities. And being that this area is a mecca for the animal operations, we had a lot of animal processing facilities in this region. And so, I'm hearing all these various things in the paper about due diligence and these new reports and stuff. They're not exactly accurate about what's going on. I mean, there's really some things that are absolutely wrong. Let me explain what you really do in a land application system. That's what they're proposing to do. They say that this is a state-of-the-art treatment system. And by the way, I hold many wastewater licenses to operate wastewater treatment plants. I'm a licensed well driller, and I'm a degreed student from NC State in engineering. And so I think I know what I'm talking about when it comes to these systems. And so what you do, you have to equate the land with the volume of water, with the strength of the water, and then they've got a cover crop. These land application systems are very, very complex. They're not something like going out and spraying, water to water your grass with. So you have there's just a lot of issues with these. Some of these fields that they're looking at are going to be about as close as the BB&T Bank to the soccer complex out at Methodist College. So, and this stuff is wastewater. It's hundreds of times stronger than typical wastewater, and it's not drinking water. And for anybody to say that, there's not issues. I called my folks today with Diener that I still know up there, which, by the way, it's not the Diener that I retired from 10 years ago. It's a completely different group of people. And so, anyhow, I just would like to quote one little thing from my favorite singer, Aretha Franklin. Think about what you're doing, because this is not right.
Thank you. Hey, I want to ask if you hold all your applause and your boos to the very end. And you can do it. You can applaud and boo at the same time. You can do that. Okay, next speaker.
Our second speaker is Derb Carter Jr., 601 West Rosemary Street in Chapel Hill.
One of the people from up north coming down.
Up north. Mr. Vice Chairman and members of the Commission, my name is Derb Carter. I'm Director of the Southern Environmental Law Center's North Carolina offices. I spent my first 25 years here in Fayetteville and come back often to visit friends and family. We were asked to review an environmental report prepared by a consultant for Sanderson. It was sent to us about a week and a half ago. It didn't take very long to review that report. This is it. It really is an attempt to address the potential impacts of processed wastewater that would be sprayed at the Sanderson facility. What it really is just conveying the soil types that will be in the spray fields. There is no information on the constituents in the wastewater. There's no information on proximity of streams. There's no information on groundwater. There's no information on groundwater flow. You need to understand the type of permit that's being issued. This facility is seeking the same type of permits that hog farms receive. It's a land application permit to spray the waste on the land. In our office, we call these pretend permits. You spray the waste on the land, loaded with pollutants. There are no limitations on any pollutant at Sanderson's Kinston facility, and you pretend that it doesn't get in the groundwater and the surface water. This is the environmental impact statement that was prepared on Sanderson's proposal when they went into Wilson, or tried to go into Wilson. This is what they sent you. And what they've sent you is completely inadequate. And I would urge you to follow Wilson's lead and say yes to clean water and good jobs and no to Sanderson. And if the Department of Commerce persists in trying to get you to take this facility, I encourage you to demand that the Department of Commerce provide the same type of environmental analysis that was provided the city of Wilson. We think your citizens deserve no less. And thank you very much for the opportunity to comment.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, next speaker, please.
Our third speaker is Jerry Kroll, address 1001 Clarendon Street in Fayetteville.
I'm here to tell a short story. I recently helped a young man find a job. He was down and out and he needed a job. Unfortunately, or fortunately, the only job he got was at Pilgrim Chicken Processing Plant in Sanford. Now this looks pretty good because he's now making $9.75 an hour. But consider this. He's got deductions coming out of his pay, brings him down to about $333 a week. Then you think the gas to get up there is another $65 a week. Doesn't leave him much. I'm here just to say that when I helped him get the job, I went to the North Carolina Employment Commission, and I tell you this, there's a lot of people that are looking for a job. Are people glad to get these jobs? Initially, they are. Will he keep the job? He will until he finds something better. And that's all I have to say.
Our fourth speaker is Reverend Reginald Wells, 2051 Woodwind Drive in Fayetteville.
Mr. Chairman, commissioners, ladies and gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening.
Again, my name is Reginald Wells. I serve as the pastor of the Falling Wind Missionary Baptist Church, which is located right east of the proposed chicken facility. Excuse me. Tonight I come admonishing you as an elected official to please vote no against Project Destiny. You were elected by the people of Cumberland County to represent the totality of the populace. It's apparent to me that some of you are straddled the fence concerning Project Destiny. I've discovered that straddling the fence can be very uncomfortable. You've listened to Sanderson, and apparently you like what they say. You've listened to the Chamber of Commerce, and apparently you like what they say. Tonight I admonish you, since you like listening, to please listen to the voices of those persons who elected you and the greater Fayetteville Cumberland community. Say no and vote no to Project Destiny. We can do better than a chicken processing plant in the all-American city of Fayetteville and the Cumberland County community. You should not want something that others have rejected. So tonight I say to you, those of us who are here with red, and please stand if you're here in opposition tonight, we've come to you to say, vote no against Project Destiny, because it is not a good direction for our community nor for our county. God bless you and have a good evening. Thank you.
Next speaker, Madam Clerk, please.
Paul Taylor, 4417 Cameo Court in Fayetteville.
Okay.
I'm coming to speak on the homeless issue. It's not about the chicken, it's about people. And in this, I had experience over the summer to deal with issues of homelessness and how they conduct themselves in the streets and with the citizens of Fayetteville and Cumberland County. What I suggest is that we build a facility that would house them to take them off the street and to get them in a more permanent location where we can get them services that they need. And some of the services that they need are mental health, drug rehabilitation, jobs, and what have you, and get them also back in the social environment so they become better citizens of Cumberland County and Fayetteville. Right now, they're on the streets. People are looking at them. It's an elephant in the room. We don't want to talk about it. Why? It's there. So as county commissioners of Cumberland County, I recommend that we build a facility, do what the people elected you for, is do what's right. John F. Kennedy said, what can you, ask what you can do for your country, but what you can do, but what your country can do for you. So what I'm saying is, you were selected by the people, for the people, and I thank you. Have a good evening.
Next speaker.
Chad Cormanek, 4437 Bent Grass Drive in Fayetteville.
Good evening, Commissioners. Good evening. Come here tonight on behalf of the Fayetteville Area Plant Managers Association. Just want to reaffirm our position in favor of the Sanderson Farms project. We wish that you look at the facts that have been presented and not just the feelings. The other item that I just want to address is it's not the Commissioner's decision on whether this is an environmental impact. This is the North Carolina Department of Environmental and Natural Resources decision. It's not for an outside environmental firm or for any other former employees. It's based on the people who are in charge of the state of environmental and natural resources. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker,
Our
Madam
last
Clerk.
speaker is Jackie Taylor, 1040 Old Vander Road in Fayetteville.
Hello, y'all. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
You've heard from me before, and I'm not going to bore you with the same thing I said last time. I didn't even plan on speaking tonight. So this is, I apologize, is just kind of thrown out there. I'm here to ask you one thing. I looked at the agenda, and I saw that you're meeting in closed session tonight, and we're all fairly certain what you'll be meeting about. We've done the research, and although that you have heard our feelings on this, you've also heard facts. And just because they include our feelings doesn't mean they aren't facts. We've had professionals verify negative impacts that Sanderson will have on our environment. We asked for an independent impact study, and that's not what we were given. Please don't be fooled. It sounds so great. Of course it does. Nobody's going to present something to you that doesn't sound good. But just please look at both sides and look at what the people want, the people that voted you guys into these seats right here. That's all we ask. Thank you.
We have no further speakers.
Thank you, speakers, and everything you say will be taken under advisement by this board. Okay. At this time, Ms. Cannon, next item is approval of agenda.
Yes, sir. Mr. Vice Chairman, I'd like to ask the board to remove 2 items from the agenda.
Okay.
The first one is a minimum housing case, item 3D.
3B, I'm sorry.
3D.
D.
Yes, sir.
Or D, D like a dog.
D, as in dog.
Okay.
And the next item to remove from the agenda, please, is item 5C.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the agenda with the said changes?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second? Moved and second, any discussion? All in favor?
Unanimous.
Okay, next item is Cannon.
Yes, sir. The next item is we would ask the board to recess the Board of Commissioners meeting. We have guests here from the Rural Development section of USDA regarding the Bragg Estates loan and grant. And so this board needs to convene as the Bragg Estates Water and Sewer District Governing Board.
Okay, at this time, I'll recess the Board of Commissioners meeting, and I will call to order the Bragg Estates Water and Sewer District Governing Board. Okay. First item on the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to call Mr. Steve Smith and Judy Hunt. Both are area specialists with rural development. To the podium, please.
Mr. Smith, Ms. Hunt, welcome.
Thank you, Amy. First of all, we'd like to thank Miss Amy Hall and Jeffrey Brown for their assistance in this project. We're here in regard to an application that was made on behalf of Bragg Estates Water and Sewer District, a loan to rural development, loan and grant to rural development for the installation of the wastewater collection system in the Bragg Estates subdivision. We're here to present the letter of conditions, and hopefully you've received a copy earlier on and you had a chance to review it. This is not the approval of the loaning grant. We're only here to present the letter of conditions, and if approved, this money would be set aside. This is a $2 million project, and this application is a $497,000 loan, a grant of $1,453,000, and a $50,000 contribution from the county. And the grant actually equates to approximately 73% of the project. The interest rate on the loan is 2 3/8%. The monies would be set aside at that interest rate. However, when the permanent loan is closed, should the interest rate be lower at that time, it would actually be closed at the lower interest rate, and our interest rates do change quarterly. Also, this is a 40-year term loan. First 2 payments would be interest only, with the remaining 38 payments being principal and interest, and the first payment would be due the first June 1 following closing of the loan. Security for the loan would be a sewer revenue bond. With the sewer revenue bond, you're required to have a debt service reserve set aside, and you would actually have to set aside money into this account for 10 years. That would equate to an average loan installment. The district would actually obtain interim financing, interim construction financing that would be done through the sale of the bond anticipation notes, and that would be done with the assistance of local government commission. Once the permanent loan would actually close when the bond matures. As far as disbursement of funds on this project, the $50,000 from the county would be the first funds expended. We would then utilize the loan funds of $497,000, and the grant funds would be utilized last. All project funds would have to be approved by Rural Development. There are a number of forms attached to this letter, a lot of forms attached to this letter, and these are just requirements from our agency. There's a grant agreement, an equal opportunity agreement, various forms that has to be signed. The district has adopted a mandatory connection ordinance, and a copy of the ordinance would have to be submitted to our agency for review. The final plans and specifications, once completed, do have to conform to the scope of the project in accordance to the preliminary engineering agreement, and those plans and specifications do have to be submitted to our agency for review and approval by our agency engineer. Once the project goes under construction, a full-time inspector is required, and our agency actually has to provide agency occurrence with all change orders, invoices, and any pay requests during construction of the project. At the end of the construction, should there be any remaining funds that will not be utilized, and all money does have to go toward the project and has to stay within the scope of the project, but any remaining funds are considered grant funds and actually would be deobligated. Are there any questions?
Any questions for the USDA folks? Okay, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Vice Chairman, I move that we approve the letter of conditions for the Bragg Estates Water and Sewer District.
Okay, we'll just go ahead and include the whole consent agenda in that. There's 2 items.
And the consent agenda.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Unanimous.
Okay. Thank y'all so much for the work you've done. Those items have been pre-signed before you leave. Will you please check and make sure that you got a signature every place you need?
Thank you.
Okay. And thank you for coming so much. They have another place to be, so we want to get them early as best we can. Okay. I would like to have a motion to adjourn the meeting of the Bragg Estates Water and Sewer District.
So moved.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Been moved and seconded. Doesn't require any discussion. All in favor?
Unanimous.
Okay, at this time, I reconvene the Board of Commissioners meeting, and Madam.
Yes, sir. Item number 1 is.
Madam Manager, I'm sorry.
That's okay. The item number 1 is the consent agenda.
Okay, is there a motion?
I thought you did both of them.
I was trying to do both, but I couldn't. I move that we approve the consent agenda. If you will second.
Second.
Okay. Okay, it's been moved and seconded the consent agenda be approved with, is this one have modifications? Or no, it did not have modifications.
No.
Okay. Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Unanimous.
Okay. Moving right along.
The
Ms.
ne-
Cannon.
The next item on the agenda are public hearings.
Okay.
The first case is P 02-04. Mr. Lloyd.
Okay, Mr. Lloyd?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, there's no opposition to any of these cases.
Okay.
So we're on the first one now. You can vote on them separately or together. There's no opposition and there's no one signed up in favor. Planning Board recommended unanimously to approve the
Okay, can we,
request.
so we can take all three of these as one?
Yes, sir, but do open a public hearing for all to consider.
Very good, okay. Individually or? Just one person. Okay, I'll open the public hearing. Are there speakers?
There are no speakers
No
for
speakers? I'll
3A
close-
through 3C.
Okay, okay, I'll close the public hearing. I need two motions.
All right. Are we ready?
Yes.
I move that we find the modification request for, this is for,
Let's do all three cases.
well, you got two that are rezonings, and one is
Okay.
modification for
Yeah,
condition.
I would do the modification separately. It is a
Okay, I'll do the
separate-
modification
Modification
separate.
separate, very
All
good.
right. Move to find the modification request for case number P 0204 is consistent with the adopted comprehensive plan designated as the 2030 Growth Vision Plan, which calls for urban at this location because the districts in the modification request would be oriented toward the residents in the overall development. The request is also consistent with the draft South Central Detailed Land Use Plan, which calls for mixed use at this location, and for the reasons stated in the recommendations of the planning staff and is reflected in the minutes of the planning board's consideration of this case, which minutes are to be fully incorporated herein by reference.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Unanimous.
Okay, second motion.
I move that we find the modification request for case PO 204 is reasonable as it is an existing approved mixed use that would not change any of the residential, non-residential percentage requirements as recommended by the planning staff and as reflected in the minutes of the planning board's consideration of this case, which minutes are to be fully incorporated herein by reference.
Okay, is there a second? I'll second the motion. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Unanimous.
Okay. Okay, we'll move on to the uncontested rezoning cases. Do I hear a motion in the two cases? Motion one.
All right, I have a motion for case P 14-58 and P 1459,
Okay, 58 and 59.
and that's all. Okay, I move to find the request for rezoning consistent with the 2030 Growth Vision Plan and any other applicable land use plan reasonable and in the public interest for the reasons stated in the recommendations of the planning staff and as reflected in the minutes of the planning board's consideration of these cases, which minutes are to be fully incorporated herein by reference.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Unanimous.
All right, second motion for case P 1458 and case P 1459. I move to approve the rezoning from RR Rural Residential to R30 DD Density Development CZ Conditional Zoning and R10 Residential to RR Rural Residential as recommended by the planning staff and as reflected in the minutes of the planning board's consideration of these cases, which minutes are to be fully incorporated herein by reference.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Unanimous.
Okay. Very good. I don't know if I could have gotten through all that.
That was impressive, Ms. Council.
Okay, we go to item D, Ms. Cannon.
Yes.
I'm sorry,
Actually-
we pulled it, didn't we? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Item E, Ms. Cannon.
Item E, case number minimum housing 699-2014.
Okay.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
E.
So help me God. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
This is minimum housing case 699-2014. Property owner is Eric Nelson and the Bank of America. Property is located at 6505 Amity Court. Parcel ID is 0497-26-5834. This is a request for a demolition of a double-wide mobile home.
Just 2 slides?
That's it.
Okay. Okay, Board, you've seen the slides, you've heard the request by the...
Mr. Chair,
yes.
we've certainly seen places that are in much worse condition. Can you give me a little history on this, what it's going to cost to bring it back up to code, what the value of the property is now, what has been done with the homeowner, and if the homeowner is in agreement with what we're moving forward with right now?
Currently, the tax office has it valued at $571, appraised value from the county. We have not been able to make direct contact with the property owner. We've done our due diligence and sent notices, but I've had no contact with anyone there. Also noticed the bank, and I have not had any contact with the bank either.
So there are no utilities, and the septic tank is not working, or do we know?
I do not know, sir.
Okay, but do we know about utilities in the area?
There are no utilities on it this time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, at this time, I'll open a public hearing on this issue. Are there any speakers?
There are no speakers.
There are no speakers. I'll close the public hearing, and I'll ask the board what their pleasure is at this time.
Mr. Chair, I'll take this one.
Okay.
That we adopt the order and report the minimum housing inspector the true facts in this case and order the property owner to remove or demolish the dwelling within 30 days. To order the inspector to remove or demolish the dwelling if its owner fails to do so and impose a lien on the real property for the cost of such action. To direct the clerk to incorporate the foregoing findings and orders in the ordinance certified by the chairman and record it the same in the Register of Deeds.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Unanimous.
Okay, thank you, Board. Okay, item 4, Ms. Cannon.
Yes, sir. Item number 4 is consideration of a designation of a voting delegate to the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners 2015 Legislative Goals Conference. As you may be aware, the Goals Conference is scheduled for January 15th and 16th in Moore County, and the Board of Commissioners is requested to designate a commissioner as a voting delegate.
Okay, I'll open up the floor for nominations. Ms. Council, do you have a nomination?
Do we know if our chairman is going to be attending?
He said he was. He said he was.
Okay.
Okay.
He was.
He's ready.
Mr. Vice Chair, I'd like to recommend the chair, Commissioner Edge.
Okay, Commissioner Edge has been nominated. Is there?
And the vice chair is back up.
As an alternate, vice chair as the alternate.
Vice Chair's alternate, okay. Want to make that by acclamation?
Okay.
Okay. All right, it's been moved that we appoint the chairman as the voting delegate and the vice chairman as alternate. Is there a second to that? By acclamation, excuse me. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Unanimous.
Okay. Item 5, Ms. Cannon.
Item number 5 is nominations to boards and committees.
Okay, the first one is the Board of Health. There's one vacancy. Do I hear a nomination?
A little fast.
Dr. Carl Creech. I think it was what it was.
Okay,
All right.
Dr. Carl Creech, are there further nominations?
No, I don't.
Okay, item B is the Cumberland County Local Emergency Planning Committee. There is one vacancy. And these are moving pretty fast, so it's hard to keep up with the iPad.
Matthew Dempster,
Okay, Matthew Dempster's been nominated. Are there further nominations?
you got somebody?
Sorry? Okay, that we have pulled item C. So item D is the Transportation Advisory Board. There are 7 vacancies, so I need 7 nominees.
Mr. Chair, I have a question on this. I noticed one of our nominees is actually working with our COG, Council of Government, and wanted to ask the attorney, aren't they already in the middle of some, don't they provide some other transportation issues also? No, sorry to put you on the spot.
No, they do provide some transportation services, but that's independent of this transportation advisory committee. This is the stuff.
Yeah, but, so you believe there's no conflict with that?
You've got, when you say, one of the nominees you're saying is an employee of the company?
Yes. Well, we also have an employee of the county and an employee of the health department on this board, too.
I would be glad to look at that further, but I'm not aware of any.
Okay, all right.
But I thought they were, that's their positions they hold. Mr. Chairman, I thought, Mr. Attorney,
Sure.
this is one of the boards that they must be a member of the health department or the planning department director.
All the positions on the
About
transportation
all these, all right, so what?
except for that large. The occupations are designated.
But the only one really was the COG, though. It's not a designated position, and it's an,
I can't find the full on here.
okay.
Is that the at-large?
If you don't see any violation, I have no problems. Thank you, Mr. Chair, Vice Chair.
Okay. Do you
All
have?
right, I'd like to nominate Tom Lloyd.
Okay, Tom Lloyd.
I never can pronounce his name.
O'Keed Harris.
Harris.
Keith Harris.
Okay. Harris. O'Keefe
Actually,
Harris.
I'm wrong. The council is on it.
Ann Morrison, Kenneth Washington, Joel Strickland, Alfred Foote, Deloma West.
Was that
That's
seven?
it.
I didn't count. Was that seven?
That was 7.
Okay, we have 7 nominees. Are there further nominees? And each of these persons have been recommended, and each of them have some designation of some, there's something, they have to be from this place to go to this place, so they've been vetted for that reason. So we have 7 nominees. So we'll move on to item E, the Cumberland County Workforce Development Board, 1 vacancy. Do we have a nominee?
I'd like to nominate someone.
Okay.
Laura Hardy.
Okay, Laura Hardy.
Yes.
Okay. Are there further nominees?
Yes, that we nominate Miss Brenda Jackson.
Okay, we've got Laura Hardy and Brenda Jackson. Okay. Are there further nominees?
Can I, and just because I asked Mr. Evans, is this the one that's designated for the social, because there's one that's designated for the Department of Social Services.
Yes.
Is this the designated position?
Yes.
Because if so, okay. I'm just asking. I think it is, so you may.
Yes.
So,
I'll reserve that to later.
okay.
So you pull that down? Okay.
Thank you, sir.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
so she's not,
Yes.
she doesn't fit the category?
Exactly.
Okay, so you pull in Laura Hardy?
But we
Okay.
could, no.
We'll find another place for it. Yeah, keep her in mind. Okay, so we've got our nominee for the Workforce Development Board. Okay. All right, this time, I'm going to call on former chair to do the duty of the former vice chair
Oh, okay.
and handle item 6 for us, which are appointments to boards and committees.
I move that we appoint to the Farm Advisory Board Britt Riddle and Patricia Hall.
Okay, is there a second?
Can I s-
I'll second it. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Unanimous.
Okay. All right, moving right along.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, we'd like to ask the board to recess the Board of Commissioners meeting and to convene the meeting of the Norcrest Water and Sewer District Governing Board, please.
Okay, please consider the Board of Commissioners in recess, and we'll convene the Norcrest Water and Sewer District Governing Board.
I'd like to ask Mr. Jeffrey Brown to come forward, please,
Okay.
regarding approval of a utility service agreement for the Norcrest Sanitary Sewer System.
Welcome, County Engineer. Brandon.
Thank you, Vice Chairman and fellow board members. What we have for you tonight is the Falcons Children's Home has requested the extension of a sewer line. It's approximately 1,000 linear feet. PwC handles the permitting on behalf of the county. We've reviewed this jointly and agreed that this was the best way to get service to this new facility. They have constructed the facility, and now it's just a matter of the board taking formal action to accept the line that has been installed to serve this facility. Any questions?
Any questions for Jeff at this point? Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. All right, this time I'll ask for a motion to adjourn the Northcrest Water and Sewer District Governing Board.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded for adjournment. Discussion not necessary. All in favor?
Unanimous.
Okay. So that's the, is that the third board we've been, or the fourth? Okay, that's the third board we've been. Okay, at this time I'll reconvene the regular Board of Commissioners meeting, and we'll go, let's see, what do we do now?
Mr. Vice Chairman, I would ask the board now recess the Board of Commissioners meeting and convene the meeting of the Overhills Park Water and Sewer District Governing Board, please.
Okay, we're sitting as the Board of Commissioners this moment. We will recess the Board of Commissioners meeting and convene the meeting of the Governing Board of the Overhills Park Water and Sewer District. So, y'all didn't know you wore all these hats, did you? Okay, Madam.
Yes, sir. Mr. Vice Chairman, I'd ask Mr. Brown to come forward again
Okay.
to discuss the land purchases for the Overhills Park Sewer Project, please.
Okay.
Thank you once again, and I apologize on behalf of staff for having to convene and reconvene for the numerous boards tonight, but there were critical items that needed to be addressed and we needed some action on. Tonight I'll go through a brief presentation that I presented to the Facilities Committee earlier this month, kind of give you an overview of what we're asking you to take action on tonight. Overhills Park Water and Sewer District was created basically years ago, and the purpose of that was to secure funding, just like we did tonight for Bragg Estates for USDA funding. Earlier this year, we were presented with a letter of conditions, just as you were tonight, at a special meeting on April 14th for the Overhills Park Water and Sewer Project. That is a loan and grant combination for a total of $3.3 million. At this point in time, the design has been completed. There's been 2 lots that have been identified that need to be purchased by this board in order to construct the system. This kind of gives you a kind of a brief overview. Overhills Park is subdivided by Manchester Road. You have a portion of it to the north and a portion of it to the south. The lots that we have in question, or I'll direct you to the screen, would be right here at the very top at the north, and then we have one that's on Collinwood Drive, and we have one on Brinkley Street that's down here to the southern portion. This right here will be gravity fed to a lift station back here, then will be pumped in a force main to the other side of the street, be picked up back in gravity here, and then this will be gravity flowed back to this location where a lift station will be constructed, and then that will be carried to Spring Lake's wastewater treatment plant from that location. Just kind of give you just an overview of what that lot is. It's a vacant lot there at, off of Collinwood. This is the Brinkley Drive lot. As far as what's been done, the county had reached out to the property owner being Wellens Realty, as far as who owns the lots. We've discussed it, and then he asked us that we move forward with getting a appraisal on each one of the lots. We did exactly that. Each lot appraised at a value of $2,500. Keep in mind that is current conditions with sewer not being installed on the lot. The owner is asking $4,000 for the lot on Collinwood Street, and the owner is asking for $5,000 for the lot on Brinkley Drive. as is, or he will take $4,000 if we allow him to clear the trees off the lot prior to that being conveyed over to the county. Another thing to keep in mind is that there's numerous vacant lots within this subdivision, but the same owner owns the majority of those lots. So what are our options? Our options are we can move forward with the purchase of the lot on Brinkley Street for $5,000, the lot on Collinwood for $4,000, or we could purchase the lot on Collinwood for $4,000 and the Brinkley Drive for $4,000. We can redesign the project, or we could move to go to condemnation on the lots. I would caution us to look at, as far as the last two options that are stated here, one of the concerns that I have for either one of those options is delay in the project. And obviously there's important guidelines as far as timeframes that we're supposed to be meeting with the USDA has been outlined already. So my concern on the last two options is the time constraints and delay of the project of moving it forward. So at this point in time, it's my recommendation to present to the governing board to purchase the lot on Collinwood Street for $4,000 and to purchase the lot on Brinkley Drive for $5,000. The reason I would not advise us to take the $4,000 option on Brinkley Drive is because there is surrounding houses on either side, and most likely we'd have to establish some type of vegetation if we are allowed to him to cut the trees prior to us taking ownership. So at this time, I entertain any questions that the governing board may have.
Any questions for Jeff?
Mr. Adams. And I think we talked about this. Even though that's what the property owner requested, there were some negotiations before you got to this final recommendation. Is that correct?
Yes, Commissioner Adams. There were some back and forth negotiations. I didn't want to bore you with those details.
Yeah, that's fine.
But obviously, you know, we did counter offer, and so this is what we kind of reached somewhat of an agreement on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Jeff? Okay, this is on the consent agenda. Do you want to take it off and discuss it in any way, or do you just want to go ahead and approve the consent agenda? It's up to the board. If you will just make a motion to approve the consent agenda, we'll go ahead and do that. That takes care of the minutes and the actual land purchase.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion this time? Okay, all in favor?
Unanimous.
Thank you.
And I just ask one question, because it just says approval of the land purchases. That was for the recommendation that he made. Because it was like 3 different proposals up there. So just to make sure we are clear, because that consent agenda doesn't really specify.
Okay.
So it was the last one for the 4 and the 5.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Good point. Okay. Very good.
Vice Chairman Faircloth also point out for the record that we've done a tile search on that. I think everything okay. We got to check out the zoning a little bit more fully, but all this is subject to us being able to use the lots for the purpose they're intended for this infrastructure.
You draft the offer appropriately. We're good to go. Okay, thank you, Jeff. Okay, we'll see. I will ask for motion to adjourn the meeting of the. Hold on.
The
Overhills Park Water and Sewer District Governing Board.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
They moved and it's moved and seconded and seconded.
We got it.
And I'll just ask for a vote. All in favor?
Unanimous.
Okay. Now, once again, I'm going to reconvene the regular board meeting of the Cumberland County Commissioners on December 15, 2014. At this time, I would entertain a motion to go into closed session, please.
I move that we go into closed session for economic development matters pursuant to NCGS 143-318. Is that a dot?
11.
11A, parenthesis A, parenthesis 4, and an attorney-client matter or matters pursuant to NCGS 143-318, 11A3.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. All in favor?
Unanimous.
Okay. Board will now go into closed session.